Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching the world. My name is Sean Driver, and I have success. I finally found out where to get the bloody eye follow-up, so I hope you guys did too. Kickoff hasn't started yet. They're just all linking arms as they're playing at the Leisure Centre. And the Welsh, I'm trying so hard. Pwllheli, 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 Pwllheli. I think that the latter one's it. I'm going to mispronounce that all day long. And I apologize in advance for it. So now, how did I get there? Let's figure that out so that I can bring it up, because I actually had to go a little bit of a roundabout, circuitous way to get it up. And that was, I think I went matches, women, and then went to the live match center from there. It didn't come directly from iFollow, which is where I was living, trying to make it all work. Interesting, Bolin getting the start in net, giving Dell a day off as tier 2 competition. You'd like to think that the girls have this one under control before kickoff and that it starts. The lower tiers, obviously a thing, but in women's the competition's a little bit slower. You got it under the more tab, then matches, and choose the women's match tab. That works. We're here, we've got it. There's access. All is wonderful. I'm still waking up a little bit. Nice to hear Mark Griffiths is doing this. We've got, what, maybe 200 in Pwllheli. I don't expect this one to be necessarily a close game. And that's just, you look at how Wrexham performed against the lower divisions previously. That's not to be rude to Pwllheli. Pwllheli. We'll keep going. About to kick off, and we are underway. Mark Griffiths made the trip for this one to do the broadcasting. That's awesome. And I'm going to leave the starting 11 up just for a little bit longer until I get set on everywhere, because it looks like for the most part, other than Suckley at 16, I haven't seen her yet. And Whitefoot, who's been coming back from an injury, it looks like she's on the line or on the bench. And I haven't checked whether people have logged in, whether there's a hangover from yesterday with the chaos that the men had. But the women have started early. I don't think I have to broadcast that much. Everybody's found the YouTube channel as well, right? Or the iFollow, so everybody's watching. And I hope the key thing, everybody's able to hear me for whatever I'm blurbing about this morning. Good pace for this number 15 for Pwllheli. Cross all the way in, but no threat bowl, and able to easily catch it. 11 people. That's a good number. I take that early on. I hope you guys are able to hear. So far, I know Mertlin's there. Feel free to introduce yourself. And as a reminder, the draw is going to start at 6:30 for the FA Cup. I'm going to end up watching both. Is it just me, or these Pwllheli seems quite pacey? Maybe surprisingly so. So when the FA Cup match, or sorry, the FA draw is on, I'm going to have to try to do both. See who we end up getting. Ball 47 in that one. Yeah, Suckley, I don't know if I've seen her yet. And if you guys have, you'll have to let me know. Bring up her bio, can always do that. Now that they've started to introduce him. No photo on the website, so she must be new. Born in 2003, so that makes her 20. Signed in 2022 as a young forward from Stoke City. Had a brief time in Australia before joining ahead of the season. So here, gone here. It is a quiet morning in the chat. Well cut out and intercepted there by Pwllheli. That's a long ball away. Oh, looking to go over her shoulder, but doesn't. Ends up hitting her in the back there. That's unfortunate. Hughes was away to the races on that one. Off to the feet. Suckley. It's in. That was actually a really good finish. Amazing start. Nice to see the women after a match that they had against Cardiff trying to build things, getting sort of maybe a fortunate break in the schedule, playing their first round of the FAW Trophy. Sort of frustrating with the trophy. I guess this is the byproduct of being having a lower coefficient. Is it's only the league winner that ends up making it. It's hopefully over time, the women's competition is able to grow and continue to develop such that they're able to get 2 teams. Because it'd be nice to be able to have the FAW Trophy not just be a pride thing and a trophy thing, but also have the opportunity to be a team that, if you win, you can play in European competition. Lily, though, tried to get it to Suckley, but doesn't. Up over top. Well played. That was one of the more well-placed passes we've seen all weekend, because that was one of my frustrations with Ogonkwo. Offside? Huh. A really good start, Mr. Griffiths. I like it. So I hope everybody's been able to bring up the game. The game is on iFollow. Mertlin has on the screen in the chat how you can get there. I got it under the More tab. I got it by going under Teams to the women. And found it there. Kara Jones coming down. Long ball. Boom. This was the sense that I got looking at things, that it was going to be kind of one of these kind of games. Jones with the long ball. Do you know? Isn't the draw at 2:30? If you have a guess, are you drawing ball 59? I was gonna co-watch, because I was sort of expecting this as an outcome and do both at the same time. So I'm doing the FA draw and watching at the same time as watching this. I think I can multitask. We shall find out. More importantly than anything else, I got to probably bang the sleep out of my eyes. So we were at 11. We've gone down. We are ball 47. I think we want ball 59, but we want to be pulled out first. I'll take any high-numbered ball with us being 47 coming out first. That's what I'm after. I'd like to have a home game in the first 2. And so I'm waiting. I've got the draw running and open. And I'm going to try to bring both up, sitting side by side on the desktop or on the laptop while the desktop's running the software to come all to you guys. But I can, 1 second. Wrexham just pressing. Pwllheli. I have to always say it 3 times to try and get anywhere close to being right. 1 second. It seems like they have pace anyway. Just not much more than that, unfortunately. I'll show you what I've done in leading up to the game is we'll hit this one here. 47 for us, 59 on the bottom for Chester. I've also pulled in blue. Those are the teams where it's either the 8th tier, which is the lowest tier that still has competition, that are in. That's 66, 78, and 90 will either be tier 7 or tier 8. The ones in purple, those are teams in the National League that are playing exceptionally well. Solihull, Chesterfield, and Barnet, who has to play a replay of their tie. And the ones in green are 7th tier. And then we've got the black ones that I don't really want. Just because we've played them so much already. Stephen, I am not doing well this morning. I am not going to lie. I am tired, exhausted. I probably sound like it. I got the coffee, the big one on go. But this is part of the process. I'm dedicated. Oh, gave it away, Brad. That's Boland. And it goes wide. Boland, that was not a confident play of the ball at going forward. Yikes. Well, damn them. Or did they call you and you said, sorry, I'm not making it? I've got... I'm hoping Welsh Beast and I are able to connect today to do another video like we did yesterday. But that could be a challenge. And then... both of my boys have soccer, and it's the first weekend where we put them into different clubs. And so I've got one that's got to go by car and one that's got to go by foot. And it's the first time, and as a dad, that we're splitting up for the kids' events. And one's taken either way. It's a big run. Oh, there's some pace. Jones should be burying that. No. How often do you see that? Jones pushes that one right wide. That's much better. Yes, should be 3-0. Looks like I'm a little bit behind you guys, but with the I follow receipt, you can obviously see where I am whenever you get the score coming in there. But I don't know if people have thoughts. Are there teams that you guys want to get, don't want to get, strategy? I mean, basically for me, for the first 2 rounds, I want home game, low tier. Once we get into the 3rd round, you start pulling in Premier League teams and the championship teams and all that sort of stuff. Then I flip the switch, and I want to win against big teams away. I want to kill giants away. But I'm curious how other people play the FA Cup. I mean, at the end of the day, that's one that I want. Oh, the Lady Dragons table. I can pull that up. I didn't set it up today because this isn't a league game. This is an FAW table game. So Pwllheli is in Pwllheli. God, I am trying. I really was. I listened and everything. Adrian Premier League are there in the. This is an FAW Trophy Cup. So this is the only women's cup that's out there. And this is the first round. And Pwllheli's a tier 2 team. So, given our history and how bad we've beaten up on some of those lower division teams, I expected this one to be a blowout. It looks like it has the potential of getting there. I can tell you that we're sitting in 4th, tied with the New Saints and Swansea. there's really Aberystwyth. I don't know whether they're for real or not yet, but it looks like there's 5 teams essentially fighting for 4. Well, it's 6 teams fighting for 4 spots, because you've got Cardiff City, Aberystwyth, New South Wales, Wrexham, Swansea, and Cardiff Met. Cardiff Met has historically been one of the best teams in the whole competition. It's been them and Swansea that have shared 6 wins between the two of them. Cardiff City with 2, and although being the defending champions. So I'm top 4 make they split up after a while. I don't know if you knew that. In that competition, they split up into a top 4, bottom 4, and play each other to make it a little bit more competitive. But the tier 2 division and below, far below the Premier League. And so we're kind of getting a look of that here as they play it outside the leisure center in Pwllheli. But this is all about developing the game, right? We've got, good thump. Great save. This is a semi-pro team taking on an amateur team, and that's the joy of these cups, is giving everybody a run. And hopefully the women's game develops. That coefficient moves up from 41, and they're able to get 2 women into the European competition. But sort of just a pride-only competition, this one. Jones, that was long ball. Oh no. Flat bounce, skipped off the ground, shot to the left a little bit, and beat the goalie from long range. Yeah, I don't know if she was sleeping or whether it skipped or whether she missed it. She raised her hands immediately, so nope, she just didn't bend over far enough. Expecting it to bounce in, it died. A brig this one, and I don't anticipate that there's any it's going to be ugly. I anticipated that, but I thought it was I want to showcase the women's match. I want it to develop and grow. I want to be a part of that process. I may, just because of time commitments, now that every single game is going to be available, seeing if there's somebody who wants to assist and facilitate with getting on for these sorts of things, and may actually be able to provide cover for me when I'm in, hopefully in England, in April for a couple of matches. We did have 11. We fell down to 7 when everybody figured it out. Now we're back up to 11. And usually we only get to about 20 to 30 for the women's matches by the end of the game. Sort of people leak in as things go. It's a far more, it's the old guard, I'm going to call them, that you're probably familiar with by now. That's certainly been here since the start. All the way around, all the way across, and you know what? That was a cheeky and a well-placed little right-footed outside the right foot. Just gave it a little touch. I was intrigued to see that we'd started with our full complement. I mean, this game means nothing, and if this was, I don't want to say means nothing. It's a pride thing. It's the FAW Trophy. You want to win these things, but I would have treated them more like they were a trophy competition or a cup for the men, not the FA, but a pizza cup competition, and look to play some of the players that don't have a lot of time. Yeah, definitely could. As far as jumping out to a lead, why do the men always put ourselves 2-0 down? I do not know. But um, there's a big divide in Wales between the top and the bottom, and even within the Premier League, at the top of the table, they've split the season out in those two tiers for a reason, and that's because they expect the bottom four and the top division to end up getting, you know, wanting them to play like competition, but be able to also play against the top competition. So they break it up into a championship and a plate for the last, what is it, 14, not 14, 8 games of the season, home and away. Play one team 3 times, 6 games. I will say this on behalf of Pwllheli is they came out like gangbusters, with lots of pace. It's just the control has been there. Fascinating to me. Does the field look massive to you guys as well? Yes, Thomas. But still want to be here, still want to sign in, still want to support, for the sole reason that it's stuff like this, and drawing people in and having a chat about it that, A, supports our girls, that's priority, but B, encourages growth of the women's game, full stop. Long ball, that was, Mark called it a good effort. Yeah, I would say that was great. They had that one. They're playing at the Leisure Centre in Pwllheli, which is, for me, I had to look it up on the geography. It's still in the north, but it's on the north, uh, west. There's a peninsula there south of like Rill, and you go down on the west coast. And so they're just playing at the Leisure Centre. Pwllheli is a two second tier team. So like the Wrexham Women were last year, entirely amateur. There's only three, as I'm aware, three semi-pro women's teams in Wales at the moment: Swansea, Cardiff City, and Wrexham. And so these are very capable athletes who don't get to focus on the game that they love enough. And so, hoping to be there to help give them a layup. Yeah, I'm with you. You're going to run into those problems, and I think it's the tier two licenses that they have, which is, so those that are in the second tier below that the FAW gives out, their football pitch requirements aren't as high, and that's just a byproduct of necessity as well, right? But I think for Pwllheli, like recognizing that this is Wrexham and all that sort of stuff, they've probably got a decent turnout. That looks to be a decent turnout, um, for what you'd expect for their games, just given the fact that it's Wrexham. Dare I say it, but you'd kind of maybe expect there to be a better finish. I'm just trying to find the attendance. The attendance of Pwllheli is 4,076. That's tiny. Well, we had 700 for the Swansea game. I don't think for the FA Trophy that you're going to be pulling out huge numbers. I think for a game like this, for an FAW Trophy game, but I would like to think that you could get to at least 300, 400, maybe fill the entire seated stands that are there. Like I said, I'm hoping, and I don't know what the FAW Trophy rules are for substitutions, but I'm hoping that there's a bit of a run out uh, for those that don't get a lot of opportunity. The thing is I look at it, Duran and Whitefoot are out there all the time, and I've seen Dickens and Spearing at least at some point. So I don't know. Maybe the roster isn't robust as I thought when I go to the Wrexham women's homepage to see. Like Whitefoot was out recently. Hughes Suckley's actually in. Lightfoot, Natasha Spearing didn't get a run out, but I go as I'm going through the lineup. Lauren Lyons, Kara Jones in the midfield. The rest of them I've seen. In the back end, you've only got 6, so you've got to play them. Everybody, we're playing over on Stevens Yard. I'm also excited for the first round draw. See who we get. Yesterday morning was an absolute chaotic day for the game and the channel. I mean, I'm mind boggled by what's happened down. How do I get my finger down there? Down there, 646 subscribers. I started the day in like 530. I went over 100 subscribers. I mean, the channel's only been up for 3 months, but I think the highest day that I had for subscribers was something like 30, and it got like tripled yesterday, and I find that mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. So it was a lot of fun, shattering records and having everybody take part. And the number of people that joined from all over the world too. We're getting quite a collection of people. And I'll say this, it doesn't look like taking the foot off the gas, which is impressive and interesting to me as far as the women's game. I know it's still early. Teams can always come back. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there, because goals for and against doesn't matter in the competition. What did you stream, Stephen? Was it football related? Oh, no, giveaway right there. And it's in the back of the net. The defenders had that under control for Pwllheli. But was that Suckley again? Was it gaming? Was it playing games? Yeah. I wish I had time to be able to play some games. I mean, I can't justify doing anything more than what I'm doing right now. I will say, Stephen, if you're interested in ever doing content, whether that be on the video side, whether that be, joining streams or otherwise, I'm all for sharing the platform and getting to know some people. Jed does those awesome videos midweek for the midweek table. If people have something that they want to do here, and if they're videos, there's no obligation to maintain a schedule, right? Throw out the odd one here or there, maybe join. I would be all for it. We should be getting the FA draw in shortly. I wonder if people are actually interested in that or not, or whether they're going to join and know to join here for that, whether it got out. I wonder if I should send a tweet out. That's all you need? Well, I mean, I'm not tech savvy either, and I've just gone through and tried to figure things out as we go. It's actually become a labor of love and also frustration. Because it hasn't been smooth at times. I've missed one entirely. That one was because an alarm clock didn't go off. I had a whole bunch of tech gremlins the one time I tried to do it at work and kept losing connection. Even yesterday, the little video I couldn't figure out, and I still haven't figured out how to get that into the right size. I've done it for all the other videos, but it just wouldn't come up for me. So if you're interested in either doing, one of the things that I really want to do is do like a hot stove, where I'm able to bring in different fans and just sit and have a conversation like this, but instead of chatting and you typing and me talking, just bring people in. But I've got to work on that. Well, that's a tech side issue on my end. But if you had a topic and you're like, you know what, I really wish that I could see Wrexham videos about X, and I'm willing to sit down and give it a shot, I'm happy to help, and do the platform thing. You know, we're getting close to monetization here on this. That I had to actually send off my tax forms, tax treaty stuff, so that the U.S. didn't withhold any taxes. I just pay the Canadian ones, which is amazing and fascinating if I actually ever get paid. But the whole idea is I want to buy like more analytics and more stats, and I want to buy maybe an embedded chat where I can put up all the stats so that they change live, and do all sorts of things to like just improve this product. And maybe at some point in time, if it gets bigger, maybe start doing little fun things like giveaways, buy a jersey or something and give it away, and just have some fun. But if you're interested in joining and working at that, then we are just about to start with the draw. I don't have it loaded up on YouTube. Well, I do, but it's still scrolling. I'm going to hit the send button on here to see if anybody's on Twitter. I'm going to grab the FA Cup balls and bring them over here. And I'm going to bring up my streams so that I can see all of the numbers. The last time I tried to delete as they were going, but they were going so fast for me, I couldn't do it. So I want 47 to be drawn out first, and any number 49 or higher to follow it. That's what I'm after. So there's the home team always gets drawn out first, and they're all numbered balls. They're numbered 1 through 80 for this competition. Teams 1 through 48 are League 1 and League 2, and they're in alphabetical order. So that's why Wrexham, being a W, is down at 47. Only Wycombe Wanderers is below us in the alphabet. And then 49 through 80, that one going flag down. Hughes getting in, stumbled, and then missed. Ugh. 49 through 80 are the lower team tiers that have gone through the qualifying round. And there's still 8 matches, I believe, that have to play a replay. And so there's 3 teams, 2 that are in for sure, and 1 possible from tier 8 that are left. And there's a number of tier 7 teams that are still possible, but there's 4 that are in. But most of the teams that are still remaining are 5th tier teams. And so obviously the FA pays out the winners in this one a big prize. Just by example, you win first round proper, you're getting in the £40,000 range for the club. If you win the championship in the EFL Cup, you get 100,000 quid. So it's winning 2 matches in the FA Cup is the equivalent of winning the entire thing in the Pizza Cup or in the EFL Cup. So they'll just basically pick out a black ball and hold it up, and then they'll pick up another ball and hold it up, and that's the matchup. At least they were black balls last year. I don't know. Maybe do they change them? And the FA Cup is not regionalized. There's no north-south. It was for the lower divisions, but they stopped doing that in 78, 79, I want to say. No, it's on YouTube. It is on YouTube. If you do a search at Emirates, I should have put that up into a thing. Let me bring that up. Or if you're on me following me on Twitter, it's at Emirates. Come on. I thought it was Emirates FA Cup. I'm looking for it. No, YouTube. It is. If you search for it, you can find it. I'm gonna post it on Twitter. I don't know if it's the wrong one because I have to find it first on my desktop. Just give me a second here. Offside. No, it doesn't go through. Oh, we've got sound coming. Live draw coming through as it starts to rattle my eardrums. I've got the volume a little bit too high set up for that, and I'm going to have to change it. So I've posted the FA Cup draw link on Twitter, but if you search for at the FA Cup and then click on live, it's there. It's right at the top. And so I'm just going to change this down. So let me know if you got that, Stephen. The volume, I can't hear Mark because this is shattering my eardrums with the YouTube. Yes, please do. A YouTube link you can certainly post. That was actually brilliant. I tweeted it and I went and found it. But feel free to put it on here. And the black ones, I don't want those black ones except for Chester down the bottom, because that would be too much fun. But the Bradford City, Crewe, Notts, Port Vale, Stockport, I've just seen them too many times, and I don't want to see them again. And the last cup draws that they've done, EFL Cup or FA Cup last year, for whatever reason, Wrexham always gets picked out less. No, it's alphabetical order for 1 through 48. 49 through 80 is just the lower level teams that are still in the competition. And so there's nothing to it. It's alphabetical order. Does the ball number matter? Why do you think it matters? I mean, I guess it does matter as far as 1 through 48 are tier 3, tier 4, League 1, League 2 teams. Balls 49 down through 80 are the lower level tiers that have qualified and gone through the qualifying matches. National League joining last in the 4th round, and in the 3rd round they would have had others that joined. It's there. Another goal for the women. And it'll be about 10 minutes of preview that they usually talk about things and kind of give us some ideas to the matchups. No, there's no seeding in that way. Even when the 1 through 48 is alphabetical order, like if you look, like we're 47th, Wickham Wanderers, a League 1 team is behind us, and you look at it, you've got well, we know we're better than Notts County, right? And they're 32, but as an example, Tranmere Rovers or Sutton United, 42 and 44 ahead of us. So it's not to do with seeding. So yeah, 41,000 quid to the winner, and you're going to have 80 teams in this competition, 48 that come in from League 1 and League 2, and 40 from the lower division. They're going to end up shrinking down to 40 teams, and then from there 20. So there's a 25% chance for those teams that are in it to make it all the way to the 3rd round, and that's when the Premier League teams and the Championship teams will join. And I'm going to turn down Mr. Griffiths just a little tiny bit. Oh, they're jumping right. Oh, they're just dumping the balls in. That's usually they do a little bit of a chat. Interesting. They're jumping right in. There's no preview. Usually they do a bit of a preview. So higher numbers, greater than 4. So when you get higher numbers, that's 49 or greater. Those two teams, and that's one, are going to be lower tiers. Lots of low-level matchups. because there's only 20 of them, and 4 of those are already gone. So it's looking more and more likely you're going to get a League One or a League Two. 57. Chesterfield, that's an interesting draw. 36. So they're going to end up with Port Vale. That's one of the teams I didn't want, Port Vale, just because we've already got them in the trophy. And the women have scored again. $56. That's another one of those interesting ones. Solihull performing very well in the National League. Don't want to see 47. Oof, toying with me on this one. Every time I see a low number go out first, I know I do not want to see 47. I want 47 out first. So the hope is every time he reaches in with I want 47. Like, go ahead and pull 47. Oh, it's Portsmouth, not Port Vale. Did I get that wrong? My cheat sheet might have been off. $54. Both Wrexham and Chester are still in the draw. Man, would the world not go completely crazy if that's what it was? Oh, I'm just waiting. It always works out this way, that Wrexham's ball gets pulled near I guess I shouldn't say near the end, but because we're not there yet, but it always seems like we're waiting. $78. That's the Tier 8 Cray Valley Paper Mills. Good for them. They're getting an away day out to go to Charlton, get some money in from the ticket revenue, because the ticket revenue is also split, as well as the opportunity to win the draws. You get so for some of the lower teams, they just want the good away game, the day out. The big away day. Those balls are still sitting there. 47 and 59. Ooh. No, Wrexham hasn't been drawn yet. Not that I've seen, anyway. There's been a lot of high numbers picked. Do not want Crew again. We've played Crew enough. Good. Ooh, that's an interesting draw. Derby heading over to Crew. Third in League Two, undefeated. 47. So that's Wigan. Or that's us, sorry. That's us. Mansfield Town away. Mansfield Town away. Mansfield Town away. Well, we get another run at the top team, because both teams are going to put out their teams, but that's unfortunate. Not really what I wanted. You don't get a good away day. No offense to Mansfield, but they don't pull 10, 8, 9, 10,000 people into their stadium. Great away days for them, but I'm just seeing what their average attendance was again. I forget from. And I've missed 2 goals in the women's match, or 1 goal. I saw one of them, but I missed the other one. That's too bad. Because it does, and that's not an insult to Mansfield when I say too bad. You want to host the lower team ones and have a winnable game. This is a game that's going to be a challenge. And you're not making the big bucks out of it because it's not a big away day, right? So but we do know them, and maybe there's some advantage to being able to get another run out and have another crack and get to look at them for the purposes of the league, and that defense and see what they've got. But you look at Mansfield, yeah, 6,700 is their average attendance, and so FA Cup you'd expect to get full value during that, and then you get half of the revenue. Well, not half, 45%. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that one. I'm kind of ho-hum. Got to head out again to Mansfield, not this weekend, but next. And all these will go up, and then you get a chance to have a look at it, because I haven't had a look to see what other any other tasty treats that are out there. I will say, Mansfield and Wrexham, for the purposes of television, isn't bad viewing. And so there's an opportunity that we could get that one picked up by television and shared around the world, which would make everybody go a little bit bonkers, which I'm okay with. You've got an undefeated squad, and remember, FA Cup has, if it ends up a draw in Mansfield, you just replay it in Wrexham, and then it ends up going to I'm with you, but I like the test. But we went in there and got a draw again, so if we get the draw, it comes back to Wrexham, and then you have to play again. The downside is you're burning off your legs because you've got to play extra competitions. The upside is you've got an opportunity to win at home or on penalties. It's just so tough to. Haven't seen who Stockport County got. That's another one, or Notts County. Those are ones that'll intrigue me. And Ramsgate, the 8th tier team, is still out there to get. The prize pool is really good. It's £1 million for the winner. It's 41,000 quid if you win the first one. You'll get, if you win the first two, it's like 108,000 quid that you get, and then the third round it's 107,000 quid, and then the fourth round it's to the point that it gets up to some pretty decent cash. See if I can bring up those figures from last year. Chester, who does Chester get? They're at home. 55, so they pull a winnable game potentially. York City or Needham Market. Yeah, so 41,000 for the first round, 67,000 for the second round, 105, 120, 225,000 the fifth round. You hit the quarterfinals, you're up to 450,000 for the winners there. $1 million if you win the semifinals, and 2 million quid if you win the finals. That's additional. That's not cumulative. So Reading versus the Dons is good. I'm curious to see who Ramsgate gets, and I'm hoping they get a lower. I'd like to see them advance through. Whenever you get those tier 8 teams, you want them to go as far as they can. Stockport County, who do they get? 52 against Worksop Town. Winning the FA Cup is on par with promotion. Yes, it's the one, and making a long run, a deep run. You know, I'm not big on winning the EFL Cup or advancing into the EFL Trophy. I mean, we've already done that. We're into the semifinals, but teams only care about that once they get through. Ramsgate's still there. Still waiting on Ramsgate to see who they end up pulling. They're going to leave it till the 11th hour. 66.75. That'd be a horrible draw for Ramsgate here. Let's do 66 and 68. 4 and 31, 66 and 68. Poll number 4. Good. Well, good for them. They're going to have a shot. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Mansfield again. And it'll be a full run. Both teams will play everybody. I mean, do we get the Parky advantage? Oh, and I got to stop. Moderately disappointed. So the 4th or the 5th, we'll see what we end up getting when we end up getting down to Mansfield. At least another opportunity for everybody to travel down. Surprised, no pomp and pageantry from the Emirates. I'd be disappointed if I was sponsoring that thing. I'm not going to lie. The EFL Cup does a way better job for the Carabao than in promoting the Carabao and the competition as far as the graphics and the sales pitch. That was just sort of like, hey, look at us. We're going to pull some balls out. Now we're done. See you later. The no nonsense of the BBC and ITV, I guess. I just a first round replay where you're with the team withdraws and then you got to play extra time and then a penalty. I can see how this one's going to go. Is it's just going to be a big defensive struggle where you score one, you might end up winning the whole thing, right, for either squad. We'll see how that one has to transpires. Mark Silwork, haven't heard him say before this season. Well, 0-0 draw in Mansfield 2 weeks ago. Or what, 2 weeks ago? A week ago? It was on a Tuesday. One of the Tuesday games. It was part of the Tuesday Mansfield, then Crawley Town week. So that was October 3rd. So it was 0-0. Mansfield dominated with possession because that's what they do. And we tried to counterattack because that's what we do. Our problem in that Mansfield game was the same as it was with Crewe, in that we weren't piercing through from our back line into our midline. So there was our midfield line. There was no connection between the two. We just couldn't figure it out. And so we never got the ball advanced forward. They had 59% possession, but they had 553 passes to our 396. Shots on target, we only had 2. We struggled in our final third, and they were never a threat in our final third, although they had all that possession. It was in the back and under control and just bantered around, backed around to each other. So not much as far as excitement goes as an entertainment value. Certainly 2 very capable football clubs. But yeah, off to Nottinghamshire for that one. Which, and I forget, I think it was a 2-hour, 16-minute drive. Can bring up my Google Docs again. And Mansfield has the best center back in the league. I will say that much. And he impressed again against Notts County yesterday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was up to be able to watch that one. And he was killing it. And he does kill it on both ends. And so, yeah, Aiden Flint, 841 minutes. He was signed from Stoke City. He was on loan to Sheffield Wednesday. He's top of the league in aerial duels won. He's near the top in ground duels. He's near the top in clearances. He's 98th percentile in shots blocked. He's just a big, huge blonde guy with a headband who just dominates. And so he's the problem. Yeah, 2 hours and 5 minutes to get to Mansfield if you're driving. In the oldest ground in the Football League is what they say, built in 1861. Look at all the Wrexham jerseys out there running around on the pitch. In Pwllheli. I never looked up the drive time, but it's not an hour and a half or 2 hours, isn't it? Because I think there's as many. Good for that in the women's match. But I don't know. Did anybody watch that game on Tuesday, on October 3rd, between Mansfield and Wrexham? On the men's side? Because that was... I can't call it a boring, scoreless draw because the teams were trying to advance forward. It's just there was no threat for Mansfield in our final third, and there was an incapacity of us to get it up to our final third. I don't know. I'm curious what the Twitter world has said. $33 messages and 44. See, the FA Cup matters. Hey, Grizz. Yeah, the women have been dominating, that's for sure. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing I was saying. Worst possible draw. It's a side in our own league, away, and they're unbeaten. Literally couldn't be worse. What a horrible draw. You're having a laugh out of all the teams. We get a hellish away day, awful face palm. Just our luck that, and it's not that I don't think Wrexham can beat Mansfield. I certainly think Wrexham can beat Mansfield. It's that you want to have the easier matches, not the challenging ones. You want to have, if you're having an away day, you want it to have a big away day. You want to play in the largest of the buildings. We have more fans that show up to games than they do. So we get less ticket revenue as a consequence because they split the ticket revenue. This is FA's different than the EFL, and I believe it's 40%, 40% home and away and 20% to the league, to the FA for the FA Cup. I may be wrong. It might be 45, 45, 10. But in any event, whatever the take is, one of these days I'll know all those stats and remember them off the top of my head. Whoops, wrong one. I was just trying to get the other ticker up. Still playing around the kids on the pitch. They have like a Tim Hortons a mini match going on between teams in white and teams in red while everything's going on, and then you've got a whole bunch of other kids, just older kids, all on the other side, just kicking it around, which is fun to watch. Terrible draw. That's harsh. Expletives. Now I want to go see what Mansfield says. They had 3,800 Mansfield fans at Notts County. That's really? They're saying the same thing we are. That's a bad draw. Oh, some people calling it easy. Those are ones that you bookmark, right? Well, we won't be using our depth. No way, not in an FA Cup match. If we use our depth at first round proper of an FA Cup match, I'll be throwing things at the screen. FA Cup, you go to win. It's even though we're not going to get through every Premier League that's there. Or unless you're talking about this match, then yes, use our depth. The problem is we don't have any depth really on the bench. I can bring up the roster. I'll do that. But there's like I can't see Morgan coming in to substitute for Boland. So Duran, Whitefoot, they've had runouts, and Dickens and Spearing have had runouts. So the women's team doesn't have a lot of depth. I could see it getting picked for TV, and I guess that would be the good news. It is a tasty treat of the early competitions in the sense that it's two top teams in their league playing against each other. Thanks, Grizz. I thought about that immediately. It was maybe they'll get the run out, but Whitefoot's been injured, or at least she was injured in the last game, so I don't know if she'll be seen today. Morgan, I don't think will be coming out. So that leaves us Doran, Dickens, and Spearing, and I'm pretty sure that those three I've seen in the Swansea games earlier. I'm going to go and try and have a look here. And I'm just going off of memory because I actually have to just bring up the bios and see whether I recognize them. Doran, for sure. She's one of the. I think she actually captained one of them. She was out there with Phoebe Lovett, and I believe it was with Karen in the last game against Cardiff. So that's a top player. Doran's a top player. Whitefoot, obviously top player. Injury. Dickens. Oh yeah, she's been out. She was out for sure in the Swansea match, but I've seen her before. And Natasha Spearing, I know I've seen her, but I can't recall when. But she might be one that for sure should get a run out, and maybe you end up giving Rosie a bit of a break. An 8-0 game. Good for them taking the time to say hi to the handful of girls that are sitting there waiting. Couple. Sunday afternoon football in Pwllheli. And have there been any Welsh people? Are you going to beat me up on the pronunciation? Because I've been trying so hard. It's a much more challenging talking about the women's matches because I have to pause and think about the pronunciation each time, and I'm always nervous of getting it wrong. It's interesting to me, I can't seem to bookmark on desktops. I'm not usually on Twitter on desktop, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it because I've got these guys saying easy. That's stuff that you want to do. It could be earlier. I don't think that there's enough of a rivalry that they're going to do it for police or safety reasons. But 2:45 p.m. Eastern. No, it'll be a Saturday 3 o'clock game, I'm sure, unless there's a safety concern from the police. And the other thing with the FA Cup is unavailable on iFollow, if I recall correctly. So you want it to be picked up by TV, because if it's not picked up by TV, then we're not going to get it. Even in it's Sportsnet that actually covers the FA Cup. It's ESPN Plus. It covers everything in the US. But I'm just going to go and see iFollow and have a look at it and see. I'm going to go to the iFollow streaming and just have a look at it and confirm that that's right, because they did change everything. So international streaming. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Sportsnet's the only option that we've got. So you want it picked up by TV. Otherwise, it could end up being a listening party. Where and how to watch the FA Cup access around the world. Because iFollow is an EFL product, and the FA is not the EFL. Yeah, Sportsnet. So I wonder whether they're going to want to push for the Wrexham because they've got large international followings, certainly more than any other team that's in, well, I'm going to say, be bold, League One or League Two. Might be something that there's an influence from some of their international streaming partners that says, get us one of those teams that we're going to get some people that put eyes on this game. But it's ESPN in the U.S., Canada has Sportsnet. There's a whole list. It's a fascinating thing. I'm curious as we're watching an 8-0 game and not really maybe giving the women much attention. I feel guilty, but it's just long balls in and attempts at goal, and sometimes they go in and sometimes they don't. But I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are of how the UK sets up its football matches at the professional level. I'm surprised that all of their games are at 3 o'clock, and I know that that's part of the culture, and it has a long storied history. But is there an advantage to having a couple games earlier and a couple games later and spreading the love around and being able to put the product out? Because one of the things I find frustrating is when you follow another sport, you're able to just tune into another game and say, you know what, I want to see what that team looks like, and they happen to be playing another team that I don't care about, but I want to have a look and get to know the players and scout things. You can't do that or not very easily in football in the UK. Do I remember Oldham Athletic? I remember who they are. I don't know if you're referencing a moment or a specific thing. Off for a corner. Good job. That was actually impressive by Jones. Oh, and I forgot to run my clock. All right, so sorry guys, I forgot trying to get the timer all matched up here now. I'll wait for it. I will say this, they've been able to go a whole 3 minutes without a goal and really any shots at net, so that's impressive, and hopefully they're able to hold on. I'm kind of cheering for Pwllheli now and don't want the score to get run up too ridiculously. There we go. Oh yeah, no, and we took out a solid team when we got up to the third round, right? Well, the third round you're almost always going to get a decent team because you're either getting one of the 20 teams that made it all the way through the qualifying in the first 2 rounds. So that's the top 20 of the lower tiers, and then you're going to get the Championship and Premier League teams that get dropped in. But my youngest is awake. And Parky and both Wrexham have had exceptional performances in the FA Cup going back in time. So it's one of those things you sort of expect. That being said, give me a big away day, which in League One, League Two doesn't happen unless maybe you get Derby or Bolton or something like that. Bolton in League One or the Championship. Derby is an example. Those are the ones that you want because, or even Bradford if you had to away. because you get the ticket revenue. It's getting a team where you're only going to get 7,000 seats tickets sold. It's a competitive one. It's just not preferable. And I wanted to see because last year we had to play in the qualifying round, and I couldn't remember who we played in the qualifying round. We were fortunate enough to get Farnborough in the second round, and then obviously because we recall Coventry in that match, but I can't remember who we had in the qualifying rounds. Blythe, that's right, and it took us two. We drew away and then won at home in front of 6,800. But I'm curious what Mansfield's attendance was. When did they host? They defeated Barrow last year in the first round, and then they were on away again, and they ended up losing to Sheffield Wednesday in the second round last year. So don't know what their attendance was because they didn't play in a qualifying round. So this will be the first one that they've hosted then. Interestingly enough, I wonder if, because 2021, 2022, did they have attendance, or were you guys playing in front of people? Jed, no, you've missed a blowout on the women's match and drawing Mansfield in the FA. Do you guys remember 2021, 2022 was there? Yes, there was attendance. So let's see what Mansfield was able to pull away. Man, they've pulled a lot there. The third round proper, they lost to Middlesbrough at home, 7,297. So that's what I was saying, is you're going to probably get about 6,000. Unless it's Wrexham fans who fill the barn. There's certainly going to be away tickets available, one would think, for this one. And maybe because it's Wrexham, maybe it's a tastier match. Maybe there's more of the people that are there. I'm hoping it's good enough to get picked up on TV. Be nice to watch them on Sportsnet in Canada. But that's the thing. Even the FA Cup, why wouldn't you have half of the games in the morning, half of the games at 3, half of the games under the light? I guess it would be half, a third, and then do the same thing on the Sunday. Almost there for Pwllheli. And the one thing I also didn't do was to check yeah, Mansfield got into the fourth round, or I did see that they lost to Sheffield. I thought it was earlier on, but that wouldn't make sense. It couldn't have been in the second round. Oh, here comes Rosie, squeaks that one in. Put it on the scoreboard. Second round. They lost to Sheffield Wednesday in the second round. Proper. It is a lot of goals. It's, I mean, I said this for you guys that are joining. I mean, with the women's match, you only have 3 semi-pro teams. This is what we were doing to lower tier teams when we were in the league last year. And this is the joy of the FAW Trophy, is you're playing everybody. And you drew a lower team playing at the leisure center in a town of 4,000 people in Pwllheli. Whitefoot getting a run out. So you guys will have to tell me what you think of your the Mansfield Town match away. Yeah, they've only had in the last 2 years. They've only had one home game, and that was fourth round proper. Last year they made, or 2 years ago they made a decent run. I was just checking. My analytics for yesterday, because yesterday was so crazy and you have to wait till 2 o'clock in the morning to be able to watch what exactly happens. Like, I look at my views for the last week, 3,207 of them came in yesterday. Like, that's just batty. Another one. Lily Jones puts us into double digits, a touchdown and a field goal. Second of the game for her. And it's happened. I picked up 300 and some hours yesterday, almost 400 hours of viewing time in a single day. Madness. My highest day of viewing time was 1,000, or that's by views, 1,596. And yesterday I got close to, I can figure it out. I got 3,200 yesterday. Absolutely bonkers. As far as hours watched, 370 hours. That's 238 was before. No slaughter rule. And the thing is I was thinking an FAW Trophy match where there's no prize other than the trophy, pride for winning. I thought, okay, lower level team, we're going to see some of our less experienced players, but they don't have a big roster for the women's team, and really everybody has had opportunities to play. We've seen all of the women out there, so who's playing Port Vale on the two? Why would Mansfield be playing Port Vale in an EFL Cup? I thought Mansfield was out. Oh, they do have an EFL Cup on the 31st. That's interesting. Because you're in the quarterfinals of the EFL Cup. You want to keep going for that one. A benefit for them, I guess they don't have to travel up to Port Vale, so they'll be at home for back-to-backs. But I wonder, do you push for EFL Cup to be able to potentially go from the round of 16 into the quarters? Or do you bring the full lineup for Wrexham, or for both? That will be an advantage for Wrexham. Good call, that one, finding that out. I'm just not looking forward to seeing Mr. Flint again. He is no joke. He was a beast against Knots, and not only a beast in the back. I mean, he'd had maybe the one misplay on one of the Knots goals, or the Knots goal. But he's just a vacuum. The ball seems to find him. It doesn't matter in the air, on the ground. He just always seems to be positionally in the right place. He's the best defender that we've seen so far in League Two for sure. and not even close. And his statistics bear it out. And so having him isn't going to be another fun battle. But yeah, they don't score a lot of goals. It's although they showed otherwise against Notts, but I watched that game and that was Notts County's back line just was horrible, and they couldn't defend a corner, that's troubling for them against Wrexham too, because that's one of our strengths is our corners and our crosses in. We're a heavy crossing team, and they were bad. But yeah, no, good find that one. I'm going to go check Twitter to see what else has come up for the Mansfield one while we're chatting. And I did send out Seattle Dragon. Are you here? Would love to see you chat. The Seattle Red Dragons become one of my favorite Twitter accounts. New fan, bright, and just the right amount of banter that you can always appreciate. And so anyway, I sent a message out to Twitter and said, would love to see you here. Got a like. So if you're in the audience, I hope that you're here. Bring into the fold. 61st minute, still got another 30 to go in a 10-0 game. No issue with time wasting. And I guess you don't call him on it. I don't actually know what's going on in the pitch elsewhere. Oh, a linesman substitution. Fascinating. I haven't seen that. I mean, in the Rugby World Cup, won't talk about the score, but did have a referee substitution in the Wales Argentina match, which is new. Mark just realized the score was 10-0, not 9-0. It's just kind of one of those games. They have had some pace with, and I don't even know if they subbed her out. 15 has had some pace for Pwllheli. Gonna suck up some injury time here. It's a quiet one. I'm just clicking around on Twitter trying to find out what people end up saying about Mansfield and Wrexham. Sort of the same reaction from both teams, other than I think there's more Mansfield fans saying easy than Wrexham fans are. So that's fascinating to see. A snoozer, an eye roll. I guess the one thing is you get another extra run at them, and so that's steel sharpens steel. Are we going to go with that motto? I mean, let's be fair. I was hoping that we'd get a high-numbered ball in one of the lower-level teams, even if it was a Chesterfield or a Solihull or something like those lines from the National League getting a chance. But no luck. Well taken. Oh, crossed in. Is that? Whew, that was enterprising. I actually quite liked that ball, at least the look at it. It looked like it was going to find the high net there. Alex, it's a pleasure. It's a quiet, performance. Not much to watch or get involved as far as heart, but the girls have certainly been there. And to be fair, they've probably missed about 4 or 5 additional to those 10. It's the joy of a tier 1 team and a tier 3 team in a competition where the one team's semi-pro, the other's a full reception there. I'm curious what the storyline is to number 7. Just came on. Yes, absolutely. If you before the Mark Hughes thing, I would have said it's to be expected. I won't say it's expected now because they've been playing a lot better. There's 2 in a row that I think that they've won. Correct? Yeah, and they took out Wimbledon in the last one. So, they beat Grimsby down, and they were down by a red. There's another one. Oh, good save. Yeah, late red card, so that didn't really influence the game. But they've been on form since Mark was turfed. They've got the players, they just haven't been able to figure it out. Alex, it was nuts. 300 and some hours. I've had to submit my tax stuff for... No, off target. I thought so. That was a beauty goal. Nice little header. Hat trick. See, it's interesting. Like, you see, they lost to Tranmere, and then they end up changing, lost to Tranmere 2-1. And then they won at home against Swindon. They beat Grimsby in the trophy. Then they beat Wimbledon. That's kind of what you'd expected from Bradford. I thought that they would be certainly into that playoff spots. It's going to be a tough one. Sitting in 11th, they are. It's going to be a tough one, but I do think that we've got an opportunity to take it for sure. But that is interesting. You look at the matches, and W&G found that there was a Halloween game for... almost got to 12. Because there's also a Tuesday game, so that means for Mansfield, they're going to be playing 5 games in 2 weeks. Do I have that right? Because they'll play the 21st, the 24th, the 28th, the 31st, Halloween, and the 4th, where we'll only be paying 4 out of 5, although we'll be traveling and they get to stay at home. Bradford away, Sutton at home, Notts away, and then a week off for Mansfield away. That's got to go in. Oh, another good save. But you look at the run of teams that we've got. No joke for the run there. We got, Sutton United. You'd expect, but we've got Bradford City, who's a resurgent team. Then you've got Notts. Then you've got Mansfield. Then you've got Gillingham, and then you got Port Vale, which will be a dead rubber. We're not gonna. I would be surprised if we put anybody out there other than just to satisfy the rule obligations in the Trophy League to put out competition. I'm going to have to do a bio research for any FAW matches that happen for the women so that I can sit and talk about the players a little bit more and their history now that, fortunately, Wrexham's put them up on the women's website. Full bios are available. So Doran did come in, and I missed that sub. And I said Whitefoot. I should have said Littlefoot. Lightfoot. That's twice. Lightfoot. Was injured and may still be injured. I'm not certain. Yes, and the Port Vale game, we have to have, like, we can put out a whole bunch of young guys if we wanted to. Um, Not a whole bunch, but a healthy handful, and a couple of people who've played more than 40 games. That's who I'm putting out there. It means absolutely nothing if we got buried 50-0 in that Port Vale game. We're into the second round. They're into the second round. The game means nothing to both sides. Sell some tickets, put out some players, give the young guys a run, and preserve yourself for the game that happens on the following weekend on the 18th. But it's nice. We're going to be just Saturday games all the way through. See, Seattle Red Dragons is me, because Mark just said looks like it's a crashed spaceship, and it does look like a crashed spaceship, the Leisure Center. Yeah, and that's what I'd be expecting. I don't even know if you play Bickerstaff. Billy Waters and a striker from the academy. I don't think we're pushing for anything at all. Good ball in. Doran just with the aggressive tackle. No joke in an 11-0 game. And it's in. Is she offside? Yeah, offside. The one thing that I'm hoping to see here is, you talk about growth of the women's game, and in Canada we're sort of spoiled being next door to the US because we just take advantage of the system down there. Our talented girls go down and get full scholarship, and then they play, in the US league domestically, or the girls go abroad. We don't have a domestic competition in Canada like we do in the men, but the men's actually just got started because the same thing was true with the men's. We had 3 teams that play in the MLS with Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. And so they've been looking for a full professional league forever, and they talked about a semi-pro league with the Premier Soccer League of Canada, and it never got off the ground. But I'm curious to see if there's continued development and growth of the game through this. Is that offside? That looked way offside. There's been some saves from the goalie. Went for a corner. But it's interesting to see how and if football develops in Wrexham because of the continued growth of the domestic league and the professionalization at the top within the domestic league, or whether it just gets top heavy for a while with no real growth or noticeable difference towards the bottom. But you'd hope, like, putting eyes on games like this, and for there's a couple hundred there in a town of 4,000 people. that's something that helps and ensures the ongoing capacity of these clubs. So I'm hoping there's continued growth, and I'm also hoping Canada figures out a way to improve their governance, so that we can not just have like a women's league started, but that it does well, and hopefully that they do better than they did with the men with their rights, because in Canada they gave their broadcasting rights away for almost nothing. So we'll see. 15 minutes left, 11-0, and I don't know if they do the draw for the FAW Trophy, Women's Trophy, and how it comes out, but every game is going to be streamed. And I'll say it again, if you're here and you would like to be able to assist in hosting or otherwise, it's going to be tough for me to do all of the women's matches, just because of family commitments and stuff like that. I've got to run out and do football with my two boys here in the morning. They've got practice as they each play for competing clubs. Not in the same age bracket, and not even playing games at their age, to be fair. That was a really good ball. Good tackle. Mark's done a good job. I mean, you'd expect as the professional. He's done a good job if you've watched this one. But if anybody's interested in helping out with these, obviously I've got to, if interested, probably got to figure out how to get OBS to people and with a stream key. But that can certainly be done, and it's probably easier than getting guests on, is what I'm finding. That'll be the battle I fight this week. And with Bradford coming and seeing them already, I'm going to have to reintroduce a different one, because it can't be a Who Are You series, because we've already done that. So it's going to have to be a What Happened series. That's a good ball in. Dangerous. And the keeper's been good for Pwllheli. Just coordinating. The Welsh Beast and I are going to do another quick little interview, I'm hoping. Lots of shots, just banging around the area. Pwllheli. It does seem to be, I mean, looking at the photos with the beaches, and I know it's the Atlantic and it's not the Pacific, but it looked, and the North Atlantic at that, but it looked like it was a cute little town, Pwllheli. I was surprised that it only had 4,000 people, because we expect ocean development and all that sort of stuff where you've got larger towns in the interior up north of the country, maybe closer to larger centers in England. But it's also interesting, a town of 4,000 people, and you look in the background there and you see a 4 or 5 story building. Doran, she's just everywhere in every game. Man, she's quick. Like, she doesn't score like Rosie, and I say that as I'm giving her compliments, and she blasts that right foot and she's dejected as she's walking past. She's everywhere. Like, do the women have a better defender than her? Well done there. Not able to maintain the ball. Pwllheli makes for a run. Good for Boland for paying attention and getting out there and playing that one forward. It's a far more relaxing game when it's 11-0. The old heart is not ticking away like mad. Oh, well done. Nutmeg. That was Whitefoot. That was an impressive little dance down the sideline there. Are they going to show her footwork? Oh, after she'd already made it through. They messed the best part out of that, whoever was sitting and coordinating. Nice little turn. I'm going to go and check more of the Mansfield Wrexham banter on Twitter. Just missing. Yeah, terrible draw. Tough first draw. That's harsh. And somebody had the easy win. Unlucky lads. Mansfield's quite confident. I mean, I guess when you've gone undefeated in all competitions so far this year, you can be a little bold. Well, that's, I don't know how they are doing in the trophy, actually, in their last trophy match. I'm going to go look that up. AFL Trophy. Yeah, 1-0 in the EFL Trophy, and then they've got the November 7th game, and then the Burton Albion game. That must have been a previous cancellation from what was supposed to be played in September, because Mansfield didn't play their first game until October 10. Ooh, woodwork. So where everybody else was playing on the weekend of the 19th, and some played on the weekend of the 12th. Heck, some were even playing August 22nd. Walsall played their first game. Didn't sneak in for Mansfield until all at the. They're going to go back-to-back Tuesdays, 7th and the 14th. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they hold up when they've got Everton on the 7th, Burton Albion on the 14th. They've got Port Vale before their match with us on Halloween. That's 3 Tuesdays in a row. Yeah, there's Mark. You can see him on the screen. Jonas, how are you? It's been an uninteresting, dominant performance. Just watching the FA Cup come running in with our draw with Mansfield away next Saturday. Not the Saturday coming up against Bradford, the one following. So not really what we wanted, because you want either a winnable game at home or you want a big day out. Yeah, third tier team against one of only 3 semi-professional teams in Wales. You kind of expect the game to get out of hand. It has this. The poor girl here doesn't look like she's in good shape. Oh, it might be a cramp. It's nice to see Mark sitting in the stands just broadcasting from the back row there. And I guess the big question is who's going to pick up the game for, and are we going to get that FA Cup game on ESPN / Sportsnet / whatever global carrier is out there? Yeah, I could appreciate that for sure. Sort of spoiled in that regard. I think I only went 2 games total without Mark. Early in the season, they were giving us a I don't know if it was a neutral broadcaster or somebody different, and you had to log in and then line up his audio, and I just never did that. But then he jumped on anyways. So BBC Sport and ITV, they're going to be picking up the matches. And I don't know, because the games for the FA Cup do go over 2 days to allow them to pick up more than just the one game. Oh, that would have been a beautiful goal. Imagine there will be some injury time. Yeah, I think Brendan's like Sean. You just kind of get used to people sometimes making a meal of it. I like people. Some people spell it SHAWN. Some people the SEAN. Some people properly put the U. Eastern European with the HJON, like Sean Podine of the Flyers. So I've stopped caring. Loop ball in. Nobody's really pressing up front, which is probably fair in an 11-0 game. That was a good one, but the goalkeeper easily takes it. See how much extra time that we got. The one that throws me off is always getting asked to spell my last name. It's like, really? Like a truck? It's the first name I can understand. The last name throws me off because I was like, that's a word that you learn to spell in kindergarten. Grade 1. Every kid wants to be a driver of a car, don't they? Monster truck or otherwise. That was a really good ball. Suckley looking for, I think this would be her 7th. Dances, strikes, Wow. I need to look up her age. I mean, it's hard to know exactly, you know, how good she is, but she's looked pacey and impressive. Doesn't have her profile up, so you assume, so 2003, so she's 20. And she's just back, having played a little bit in Australia. She had 14 goals in 6 games for the under-19s, and she's had 10 goals in 13 appearances before the season started. Yeah, I haven't seen her before. She hasn't played, and obviously didn't know anything about her because she's got no profile photo up on the website yet. But they did add the bio. But she's been impressive, and you know, put her out against Cardiff, maybe a different story. Put her out against Swansea or Cardiff Met, given away. I didn't see how much added time was being added, and haven't heard either. But I'm going to wrap this one up quickly. I've got to get the boys ready for their football and hopefully try to sneak in an interview with Welsh Beast. Yeah, that's fair. Whitefoot with Suckley again. Whitefoot's been good with on the wings. No, not leverage as opposed to leverage. Like Doran's just that was a bad play. Whoopsies. And I will say about Doran, her position, her tackles, her quickness, but she's had 2 questionable passes, long balls. It's probably the only game that I've noticed that there might be a little bit of an issue. Back heel from Suckley there. Yeesh. All good, Brendan, and everybody who's been here. I enjoy doing these. As I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do every Sunday just because I got so much on my plate right now. I want to, but it's a tough ask every morning, especially on my poor wife who's out there with the monsters fighting the good fight while I'm sitting in here chatting and having some fun. So I'm going to have to see if I can find somebody interested in doing some of the women's matches and setting up OBS. And there's Suckley fighting for it. Yep, able to get there, looking for an assist. All good, Scala. I was glad you were here in the background, watching away. I'm hoping if Seattle Red Dragon's here, by all means, send me a message on Twitter. I'd like to chat with the, I assume from the Avatar man. It's like my sense of humor. Half of the tweets, I'm like, that's exactly what I would have posted. Just do one last little check of Mansfield Twitter. Yeah, only 14 comments. Just hoping it's enough to get picked up by TV. 3880 Stag fans in Knots. That's crazy. That's that's more than half of what their average is attendance-wise at home. Blown down. That'll it. I forgot to upgrade the score when that last one went in. Horrible. Pwllheli 0. Wrexham 13. wrap this one up, and I'm going to go and do a bunch of stuff that I have to do. I'm going to see you guys Saturday for Bradford. Have to figure out that video that I'm going to do in the interim. The what happened, did we get it right sort of thing, and get that one out. And then, yeah, just chat. I'm enjoying it, having a blast. So enjoy your Sunday. I hope you all have a good one, and I will see you Saturday, if not before. All right.